Hello everyone, I'm Zoltan the Gamer Man, and coming up are my honest thoughts on Ratchet Clank, Rift Apart. In this video, I'm gonna talk to you about how Insomniac's latest, most visually and technically stunning game looks, how it sounds, a little about its story, and most importantly, what an absolutely awesome and truly mesmerizing experience it was to play through it. So let's get right into it! This game has so much going for it graphically that I could seriously spend the entire video just gushing about how beautiful all the textures are and how incredibly spectacular the ray tracing is and the 60 FPS and the particle effects and the animations and the instantaneous load times, but I'm not really technically gifted enough to be able to explain it all. And as a layman, all I could do from minute one really was just to take it all in and say wow, look at that, or whoa, or the occasional, oh man, this graphics, look at that, they're giving me the chills, man, they're really fucking awesome, guys. Whenever a new cinematic played or a new area opened up, whether it was bustling with life or just desolate and let me explore it, it was all just jaw-dropping. But the area that was the most stunning and that definitely took the cake in my book was the all but destroyed mining planet of Blizzard Prime. It had these purple crystals there called Blizon crystals, which you could hit with your trusty handy dandy little space hammer, and the first time I did, well, this happened. Boom. What do we do here? You know, you can give any of these crystals the old 1-2 and boom! The character is instantly transported into another dimension. I mean, sure, the basic shell of the surrounding area is just about the same, but all the elements within it, from the major landscape parts to the tiniest little minutia, like the tiniest details, not to mention the mine workers walking about in one of the dimensions, instantly appear or disappear with absolutely no loading, no delay, not even a dip in frame rate. So devs over at Insomniac Games, I tip my hat to you because you have truly succeeded in showcasing what the PlayStation 5's super fast SSD and beefed up GPU can deliver, especially when it's in the right hands. One other thing that I consider worth mentioning here is all the particle effects and various firing animations that each and every type of weapon in this game has. And even in the more difficult combat sections that were somewhat of a challenge for me, I'll admit, I was 3/4 concentrating on the battle and the last one picking my jaw up off the floor because of how beautiful everything looked in the sweet chaos of the Lombax flipping, robot ass kicking, mayhem wrecking battle sequences. Also, Ratchet and Rivet's fur and how realistic it looked and how it moved and rippled with the wind had me going, oh my god! Wow! And the fluidity of all the characters' motions, and it's not just the main characters I'm talking about here, no. Even the most insignificant non-player character or enemy or critter hanging about, they were all masterfully done and polished to the point that any more would have been scratching up the paint, if you catch my drift. To sum it up, this game is visually almost f***ing perfect. So let's move it on now to sound. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart does a commendable job in this department as well. From a sound point of view, the highlight of the game, for me at least, was the performances of the voice actors, paired, of course, with the beautiful animation which made me feel like I was in some sort of interactive Pixar movie whenever a cinematic was playing. The other noteworthy thing here, again, is the battles. I mean, the fact that the battle sequences are the highlights of a Ratchet & Clank game from almost all points of view should be a
completely normal phenomenon.
And they're truly magnificent. I mean, sometimes there are so many enemies at once and so much going on the screen at the same time that it was hard to follow for me. And yet, even in the most cluttered and enemy-filled scenes, which were full of gunfire and destruction, all the sounds just came together in a beautiful harmony of acoustic chaos that brought my immersion to a whole new level. The various weapon sounds are also quite remarkable, with each one having its own distinct voice to let you know just how destructive it can be. Something I found a little lacking, though, was the game's music. And I know the score's job is not to steal the show, but isn't it kinda sorta, really? I mean, what it's supposed to do is elevate your experience. It's meant to drive home what the visuals and the story are setting up, and in Rift Apart, I just found it, if not absent, then not fully living up to its potential as the tool of ascension for the experience that it should have been. For me, it was honestly very much unremarkable for the entire game, and I still cannot remember any of the more noteworthy, notes from even the more dramatic or more intense scenes. So, to sum it up, the sounds are
pretty good, but it can be better.
And now let's move it on to the story. Rift Apart's story kicks off with the titular characters being celebrated for all the heroic and good deeds they've done for their universe. And of course, no party is complete without some party crashers, so Dr. Nefarious, the villain with a fishbowl for a head, decides to interrupt and steal the Dimensionator, a super powerful weapon able to, yep, you guessed it, open portals to other dimensions. Disaster ensues as the Dimensionator malfunctions and is subsequently destroyed, leaving behind a great heap of crap that Ratchet and Clank must scoop up, throw out, then disinfect the area, which in this case is the entire multiverse. And from there, it's fairly straightforward really. I mean, it has a couple of twists here and there, but nothing too major, certainly not anything that would have made me go,
"We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived."
That said, however, this story is very well written and played out. It's just a feel-good adventure that left me with a warm, fuzzy feeling on the inside. And I'll let you discover the rest for yourselves. That is, if you haven't already seen my Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart playthrough stream, which is available on my channel. Go check it out, and let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video if you're enjoying it, and maybe subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thank you if you do. And now let's move it along to gameplay. If you're familiar with previous Ratchet & Clank games, then you'll know what to expect. Over-the-top action, various different areas with different layouts and enemies, a whole arsenal of different and super exciting weapons at your disposal, and most importantly, barrels and barrels of fun. If I had to sum up Rift Apart in one single word, then that word would be F-U-N fun. Okay, let's start off with, I don't know, combat, maybe? Yeah. Firstly, this game's combat is bonkers, and I love it. And by bonkers, I mean that there are so many different ways of dealing with your enemies, and by dealing with, I mean shooting them in the face. You have your basic blast pistol, then you have a shotgun type weapon called the Enforcer, which was my personal favorite by the way. You have a gardening glove that turns enemies into shrubbery, you have rocket launchers, saw blades, electric boogie inducers, and so much more. I mean, every time I bought a new type of weapon and got to point it at my enemies for the first time, I was all, boom! Oh, this is awesome. And of course, in typical Ratchet & Clank fashion, all of the weapons can be upgraded and leveled up, which will give them even more awesome perks and, not least, cooler names. And I just had an absolutely awesome time blasting Nefarious bots, Goons for Less, Purple Leapfrogs, and Giant Grunthors to Kingdom Come, but gameplay has so much more going for it than just combat. There are some quite cool puzzle sequences with Clank, and even though they were sometimes real head-scratchers for me, and sometimes they made me feel a bit, well, intellectually challenged, they were all, say it with me now, fun. Also, this game has the largest environments ever featured in a Ratchet & Clank game ever, so it puts a lot of really cool tools at your disposal to cross them with speed, and most importantly, style. And let's not forget about your Rift Tether either, which you can use to pull yourself closer and go through dimensional tears or rifts, if you will, to instantly zap to another section of the map. There are also some rifts that you can open up to pocket dimensions, which, after a bit of platforming, can give you pieces of armor that are not just super badass looking, they're also useful. Interplanetary travel is also back, and now each new planet offers up a raunchy side quest in addition to your main objective. And these are fun little distractions from the pressure of having to save the entire multiverse from collapsing in on itself and killing every living creature in the process. Anyway, this was honestly the most refreshing gameplay experience that I've had with any video game in a while, and I'm sure that anyone who picks it up, even if they're all, well, isn't Ratchet & Clank a kid's game though? Well, to you I say,
stop it. Get some help.
Just pick it up, try it, and you will most definitely be absolutely captivated by its natural charm and lots of times genuinely funny characters and the, here it comes, bucket loads of fun that it provides. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is not the longest of games, but it's not that short either. I was lucky enough to get my hands on it on launch day and finish it the following Monday evening. But that was because I was streaming it. If I weren't streaming the game and just, huddled up in my little cocoon of gaming and going at it as hard as I can, it would have been done in a weekend. That would have required an almost all-day gaming session on Saturday and would also have claimed a good chunk of Sunday as well. So playtime is either one hardcore weekend or I'd say a weekend and a half, maybe a couple of weekends if you're taking it a bit more relaxed. As I've said before, Rift Apart was the most refreshing, humorous, and most of all,
Wait for it.
fun gaming experience that I've had in a while. Insomniac Games has yet again raised the bar and delivered a game that, in addition to all its charm and humor and captivating heartfelt story, plus all of its gameplay characteristics that I've listed, is the first truly real showcase of what the PlayStation 5 can do if put in the right hands. I really do not have anything to reproach, apart from the sort of underwhelming soundtrack. So, all things considered, on my part, this game almost deserves a but unfortunately, the soundtrack bumps it down to a measly 9999999 in one half. am truly astounded by how good this game turned out to be, and I will definitely be replaying it in the near future for its awesome graphics, its heartwarming story, but most of all, its fun gameplay. Alright, you beautiful people, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to Zoltan the Gamerman in all dimensions you visited, and point your blast pistol at the bell button and pull the trigger vigorously if you want to be notified when I post new content. I'm Zoltan the Gamerman, and as always, take care, be well, and don't forget, keep on gaming.